Now, one of the most searched terms for 2020 under the Tesla tag was Cathie Wood. She made headlines when she came out with the most bullish targets for Tesla stock, which no one believed. But fast forward now, we all agree to her targets. But since last year, Cathie Wood and her funds have suffered some major headwinds and lots of pushbacks. The videos where I have mentioned her name, I have noticed some negative comments. The thing is, when we are in a bear market, the only folks who makes money are short sellers, and most of us do not have the funds or the guts to short anything because that's an easy way to wipe yourself out of the market. Now, Cathie Wood manages a fund that manages billions, and last week those billions were further reduced. So what does all this mean for investors like us? Now, I don't own Roku or Roblox or few others that she bets heavily on, but I do own a lot of other stocks, for example, Teladoc, Palantir, Tesla. So let's take a look at why Cathie Wood's fund is trading at some dangerous levels. Let me share my screen and let's go over this. Okay, so as you can see on your screen, this is RK. This is the innovation fund and it's the last 1 year since March of 2021, and you can see that fund has reduced a lot of value since March of 2021. Now, if you look at the fund flow, and this is fund flow by the way, as you can see at the bottom. So this on top is money coming in, and at the bottom is money that's going out. So if you pay attention over here, it's not that we don't have money coming in Cathie's fund. Cathie's fund goes up and down all the time. 1 week they have more inflows than the other week. But if you pay attention over here, since I would say August of last year of 2021, we have seen more outflows of Cathie's funds as compared to inflows. So if you look at these bars, there are more bars and more dense bars as compared to the selling. So let me increase that. If you see over here, we have huge sell-off or huge outflow of money and then only few bars of inflows. Then we have bigger bar of outflows right here as compared to smaller bars of inflows if you compare these bars up and down like this. Then fast forward December, right here is November and December of 2021, and you can see that we have huge outflows of Cathie's funds as compared to inflows. So a lot more people are withdrawing funds and taking money out from Cathie Wood's fund as compared to what they're putting in. But in the last few days, we have seen some of the funds coming back into Cathie's funds or RK. Now, this is a chart right here, as you can see, and we can see a downturn on the chart here, and this is the fund flow. Now let's take a look at some numbers, and this is really interesting. So I'm going to go back to right here, 12/20 of 2021. Pay attention to all the negatives and pay attention to all that are not negatives. That means the fund is coming in. If you can notice over here, on 12/22, we had 58 million being withdrawn from Cathie's fund. And then after that, we continued with the sell-off right here where we had 82 million, 138 million, 56 million. And then we had this 58 million right here coming back into it. But then we had major sell-off after that. Even though funds did come back, if you can see 48 million here, 94 million here, 177 here. But if you look at the outflows, they are much bigger in quantity as compared to inflows. The same thing continued in January. In January, we had 1, 12, 13, and 14 right here. We saw massive outflows from Cathie's fund. And then after that, 3 days later, we had some inflows, but outflows were of course much bigger as compared to inflows. The same story continues, and you can notice that all the negatives are getting bigger and bigger. See what happens on February 9th, we had a major inflow of money. But if you compare with the positives, more people took out the money as compared to people putting in the money. And same thing happened over here in just last week when we saw a major outflow right here, even though we had an inflow of February 15th right here of 176 million, but then we had more outflows after that. So it's really interesting what people are doing here. They come in and at the same time, let's say that the stock market is doing well, they put the money in, and then few days later, they take the money out. Now, it could be different people, it could be different reasons, but these ETFs or this ETF, especially Cathie Wood's ETF, are not doing good. That means they have a major outflow of money. And Cathie was actually speaking with CNBC, and she even mentioned that some of the investors are making the biggest mistakes of their investing career by selling out or by taking the money out from the market right now. But as I mentioned in my previous video about inflation, that these are some unprecedented time. These are the times that are really scary and very different than previously. Previously, okay, you had a bad day, bad month, that's fine. But this sell-off will continue until we get some relief from the Fed and some direction from the Fed. It's not that the market doesn't expect 5 or 6 interest rate hikes. We all expect that. Like it was 3, then it increased to 4, then 5 to 6. I think market has already kind of taken in 5 or 6 interest rate hikes. It's not that, but it's the uncertainty that are we going to get 50 basis point or are we going to get 0.25 basis point? This is what basically bothering the market and bothering people. At the same time, Russia and Ukraine situation is also not helping. So all this combined together, it's really risky right now of what's going on. RK has gone down really big time. On top of that, when people continue to take money out, stocks like Roku, stocks like Tesla, stocks like Palantir, they are touching newer lower lows recently. And it's not just because of the earnings. Of course, Palantir earnings, we can say that it was responsible, but at the same time, just fear in the market. Roku, really bad earnings. And of course, the future projection was also really bad. So it's what people don't know, what people expect that the coming months is going to be much more painful. The longer this continues, the longer will be the recovery. And that's what I feel. Because again, some of the folks, we never thought that we are going to see these kind of lower lows in the market that we are seeing right now. So I expect very well that in the coming days, we can see some more pain. So RK, the innovation ETF, tumbled 58% since its peak on February 16th, 2021. And on Friday, the ETF hits its lowest price since June 2020. But Cathie Wood still says that her picks are in deep value and still believe that they can come out stronger than before. And investors are making a mistake by selling at the bottom. Let me know in the comments below on what are your thoughts on Cathie's funds and some of her other choices like Roku, Roblox, etc. that she's betting so heavily on. If you like the video, then consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. As always, thank you for joining me and it's a pleasure to share all of this with you. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.